Welcome back to Big Herb the Nerd as we have another Who to Manage in FM18. Little short listicle for you. This week we are looking at fallen teams again, but this time with a little more of a challenge. We're looking at League 1 or below. So before we covered the Championship and above, those easy one season saves, maybe a beta save. You want to take a Championship club, you want to work that one season and then hit up to the Premier League. If you haven't seen that video, link will be above. But this week, we're going to be looking at those teams that sit in League 1 or below. So it's more of a challenge. Still a fallen angel, still spent 10 leagues or more in the Premier League, but they are sitting in League 1 or below. So you've got a much harder challenge here. This is a longer term save. This may be something you want to tackle once you've got to grips with the game in beta mode. Or, jump straight in. Jump straight in. If you're ready for it, you want that challenge, you go for it. So we've got 5 teams again today. One of them we will touch on very quickly, and the other 4 will be brand new teams. So the first team to look at is Blackburn Rovers. We covered them before, but they are just relegated into League 1. So they will be, obviously, our fallen angel with some decent prospects. It should be an easier task, probably the easier one to go for, as they've just come down from the Championship. So they've got that bounce back ability. If you can keep some of their big players and then progress into the Championship in your first season, you should have a much easier time. So probably the easier of the teams. You've got Danny Graham in there as your striker, so hopefully you can get him banging some goals in for you in League 1 to make sure you get up in your first season. But yeah, you'll be looking to build on the base of players they've got here. No big stars at the moment. Maybe get some loanees in. You might be able to, with your reputation, cool down some of those Premier League players and then tackle that first season into the Championship before pushing on further. As we looked at before in the history, 3 Premier League titles, 6 FA Cups, and an EFL Cup. So they have won the dizzy heights, but no European on there. So let's get some European football for these guys. Let's win some more cups and get into the Premier League. But we'll cover Blackburn quickly because we covered them before. So the next team to look at is Coventry City. Bit of an odd one here. I quite like Coventry City. I've played him before in my lower league saves. And as you can see, mid-90s, these guys were knocking about the Premier League. Before early 2000, 2001, dropped into the Championship, never to be seen of again, and have just dropped after a good amount of years in the Championship in 2011, 2012, down into League 1. So these guys, and last season have just dropped down into League 2. So they have had quite the fall now, sitting in League 2. This is going to be one of the bigger challenges for you. Taking them from League 2 all the way to the Premier League, you're going to be having to build this club from the bottom up, but holding on to that reputation of they were a Premier League club before, and you should be able to get them there again. Let's have a look at the players. Who have we got? Jordan Willis as captain, key player Tony Andrew, and Geordie Jones as your hot prospect. So 19-year-old English Geordie Jones. Looks like he's got fairly decent stats actually. If you can get him working in that role there, maybe as a shadow striker. Finishing's not great, possibly. If you can keep hold of him, he'll be a decent addition to your team. Let's have a look quickly at the team. Nobody jumps out to me there as being big ones to watch or hold on to. So you'll have a lot of fun here building this team up to who you need them to be. And if we look at the history, they've only had an English FA Cup. And that's it, and just Championship and League 1 wins to their name. So a fairly empty trophy cabinet for you to go and attack. So like I said, you'll have that challenge. You'll be in League 2. You're going to need to get in through the leagues, that grind through League 1 and the Championship before the big times in the Premier League. So you're going to have to invest heavy in youth, try and make some money in those lower leagues before you get the big money payout in the Premier League. But yeah, it looks like a good challenge. Coventry City. I mean, it might be one that I even think to take on as well in my FM18 career. But if you don't fancy Coventry City, maybe you'll fancy this next team. The next team is Charlton Athletic. They have just been relegated from the Championship into League 1. So another one like Blackburn just dropped out, so you have that bounce back ability. But Charlton Athletic came up and danced around the Premier League around the late 90s, early 2000s, and then stuck in the Premier League before dropping out in the 06-07 season and falling disgracefully down into League 1. They've then bounced around League 1 and the Championship for the last couple of seasons, and just this season gone down again into League 1. So they are a team that has a lot of reputation, a lot of history in the Premier League, and should be fighting their way back to those dizzy heights. So let's have a look at the team. Let's see what you'd be working with if you were to take on the Charlton Athletic Challenge. So you've got Johnny Jackson as your captain, Chris Solly as your vice. Key player Ben Reeves, Northern Irish advanced midfielder. Not bad stats, fairly standard across the board. Only 25 though, so some room for improvement. And your hot prospect is Tariq Fuzu. Oh, a decent inside forward. Very good stats for a 21-year-old, very pacey. So if you can get him working out on that left-hand side, you should be able to see some goals from him. So let's look at the history. An English FA Cup to his name, so a fairly bare trophy cabinet. Again, just some division titles. So if you can grind through League One and the Championship, get them into the Premier League, you've got Premier League titles and European football to aim for, as well as your FA Cups and your EFL Cups. Just to fill that cabinet up, become a Charlton legend. Yeah, I like Charlton. I think that'd be a good challenge. Yeah, you may have an easier time as you have those Championship players from where you've just dropped down from the Championship. If you can hold on to them and harness their potential, then you could see a quick one-season bounce back to the Championship, and then the grind starts for the Premier League run. But if you don't fancy Charlton, you want to try someone else, I've got another team for you. Let's have a look at Wigan Athletic. Oh yeah. Old Wigan, they bounced around the Premier League for many years, didn't they? They rise up from League 2, took a fair few years, not that long from League 1 to the Championship, to the Premier League though, and bounced around the Premier League for a long time. They always suffered, didn't they, in the Premier League? They didn't have enough, they didn't have the money, and they didn't have necessarily the support backing them, but they were there for a long time. They were a mainstay in the Premier League before, unfortunately, being relegated in 2012-2013, and have then been relegated from the Championship only last season. So this will be another challenge. They've been down in League One. They've lost a lot of their talent, a lot of their players. This is a building. You need to build this club up, get some youth players in, get some good, maybe pull in some loanees from the higher leagues, and then really attack to get yourself into that Championship. And once you're there, you need to run as hard as you can to the Premier League. So have a look at the team you have if you would take on Wigan Athletic. You'd have Sam Morsey as your captain, Stephen Warnock as your vice captain, and Nathan Byrne as your key player. Nathan Byrne being plays both sides. Winger, wing back, decent stats. If you're going to play attacking wing backs, he'd be great actually. Great passing, great technique. Finishing not too bad either if you want to play him up as the winger. And your hot prospect, Jack Byrne. Central midfielder, fairly decent stats again for a 21-year-old and a hot prospect. So if you can keep hold of him, harness him in the central midfield, he could be a rock for you. Let's have a look at the squad. Large Alex Bruce sitting in there, getting on, but a decent central defender will do a good job for you still for a season or so. Nick Powell coming in. He was the guy that came in for Crewe. I had him for Crewe. He was a decent attacking midfielder, stats-wise. Looking not too bad. Hopefully he can do a job for you in League One as well. And Ryan Colclough. He also was a decent prospect a few years back. 22 now, so maybe not achieving what he once did. I've just seen. How could I possibly forget the man himself, the man on fire, Will Grigg? Can you get him firing for you? I mean, I'm not sure I'm sure he'll be downgraded for next season, but you've got a fairly decent team to build from there. You shouldn't have to bring in too many players. And if we have a look at the history, as we said, it's again a pretty bare cabinet. You've got an English FA Cup in there. I remember that actually FA Cup final. That was a good one when Wigan won. I enjoyed that. But no Premier Leagues, no European football. So that's the challenge. Get them through League One, get them into the Championship, and then once you're in the Premier League and you've made that step, go for European football and those Premier League titles. Will be a slightly harder challenge, being as they've been in League One for a season, so you're looking to build. But the team looks pretty strong. It looks like they're settled in League One, where some of the guys that have dropped down from the Championship, you'll have a harder time fighting to keep players. Wigan seems settled, so it's a case you've got a nice base to build from and aim for the top. And I have one final team for you, one fallen angel, and I wonder if you can guess who it is. The last team we're looking at is, it had to be Pompey, didn't it? So they're in Sky Bet League 1, just come up from League 2. So they had a good season. So you've got a team that have just achieved promotion. They've got high morale. Can you take them and turn this into a rocket back to the Premier League? As I say, they were knocking around the Championship in the mid-90s. Got up in the early 2000s into Premier League. Were there for a couple of seasons. And then unfortunately fell from grace quite spectacularly. They've run out of money. Yeah, I remember it was the big problem. Dropped down season after season, landed in League 2, and they've just settled themselves, built a platform, and now they're back in League 1. So you're looking at player-wise, you've got Brett Pittman as your key player. Striker, deep line, 29 now, so you probably get a season or two more out of him and you have him hand off to someone else. Jack Watmore as your hot prospect. Decent looking English centre back. Not bad stats for a 20-year-old. And those mentals aren't too bad either in terms of how he's looking. So yeah, you've not got a bad team when you look at it. If you look at the full squad, anyone jump out at us? Lots of loanies. No one too much jumping out to me as someone that I've seen before. Not the same Danny Rose. So yeah, you've got a base. They've just been promoted. So can you harness that morale and take them on that rocket all the way back to the Premier League? They have a slightly more full trophy cabinet than the other guys. But Premier League titles, FA Cups, no European football. So maybe that's a challenge. Get Pompey back into Europe. Get him up. Get him above Southampton, eh? Get that rivalry back on the go. That's one I miss. But yeah, Pompey, the big challenge. They've been a challenge for some years. Some guys taking it on when they were dropped right down into League 2. But now now they're back into League 1. Can you keep that run going? Now they've done it themselves. Can you keep that run going? Get them into the into the Championship, then into the Premier League, and see if we can get some European glory for them. So that wraps up this list of the teams to manage in FM18. Fallen Angels, those guys that are League 1 and below, sorry. The guys, it's going to be a slightly longer challenge for you. You're going to need to put in a good couple of seasons if you want to get to the Premier League and get these guys back to their former glory. If you have enjoyed, please do smash the like button and subscribe to get notifications on when these videos are dropping. We'll have a few more in this series of who to manage, just giving you guys some ideas for FM18 for some challenges and some teams to take on as soon as the beta drops, which will hopefully be not too soon. So I will see you around. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye bye.